Being a platform for good, being engaged in the community is a cornerstone of our ownership. I think it's a cornerstone for all of us in the sports business, and we've really leaned in on that. I think it's something very powerful, and it can really make an impact. In fact, in the Minnesota community, we have a Vikings table. We've served over 100,000 meals in the past 4 or 5 years to kids that need, have food insecurity. So we're very, very engaged in that kind of engagement.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of SBJ's On Stage. I'm your host, Taylor Bloom, and today we're bringing you a global conversation on leadership, legacy, and the future of the NFL. This episode features Mark Wilf, owner and president of the Minnesota Vikings, in conversation with Sophie Goldschmidt, president and CEO of U.S. Ski and Snowboard. Their discussion took place on October 1st, 2025 at Leaders Week, London. From expanding the Vikings' international presence to shaping long-term organizational culture, Wilf shares how ownership decisions today are setting the foundation for the NFL's global ambitions tomorrow. It's a candid, strategic conversation about leadership beyond the scoreboard and what it takes to build lasting impact in modern sports. Let's go on stage.
I can see why you've won various fan engagement awards and I think best atmosphere in the NFL for the last couple of years. That looks pretty special. But thank you for joining us today. Great to have you here. I know you're just in from Ireland, getting ready for the game at Spurs this weekend.
That's right. Great to be here, and hopefully this week will be a victorious one for us.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we bring you some luck with this interview. Just to start off with, you've celebrated 20 years this past summer of owning the Vikings, quite a run. Can you talk a little bit about your journey as an owner, just the values that you've tried to instill, culturally, what else you've done to make the franchise so successful? Well,
it's been a tremendous experience to be part of the sports world. It's a great privilege and responsibility. It's a great thing personally for our family to be part of the NFL and MLS and the NWSL and all these great franchises. And for us, the journey, and you touched on it in the video, we have some key priorities. Of course, winning championships, number one. Number two, making the fan experience as special as possible. Number three, making sure we give back and are part of the community. That's something very important to us. And of course, at the same time, promoting football, soccer, the sports that we engage people in. So that's been our philosophy. We view it as being stewards of really great community assets, and it's a great industry to be in.
Awesome. The NFL's obviously been very bullish now for quite a few years on bringing games to Europe and internationally, and you've been very supportive of that. I think you just mentioned outside 4 games in 3 years. Just talk about why you support that and what you've seen during that time.
Well, we've been very supportive of it. This will be our 6th international regular season game. We had many preseason games before that, our 4th in the last couple of years. So we're very much bullish on the growth of our game internationally. Now there are currently, I think, 14 million fans in the UK of the NFL. And we've seen the growth just in the past 15 years since the first games were played here. The fans are super educated. It's not just expats. Many local people and people from all over Europe are coming to the game. And we saw it in Dublin now, a new market for us as well. So we're excited about the possibility to help grow the game. The UK market is actually a marketing environment for our team as well. So we're trying to set up our club here as well, and we're growing that, and we've devoted staff and resources to that.
And then what's the reaction been from the fans? Over here, we've seen mixed sort of reactions when the Premier League's threatened to take games overseas. How have your fans embraced it?
They've been tremendous. We do a lot around the games as well. We have tremendous fan support. They travel, many from America. Our sponsors come over here. We use it as an opportunity to engage our business community. In fact, the governor of Minnesota was in Dublin doing a trade event around the game. So there are many opportunities around it, but our fans have been super supportive, and we're growing fans all over. And the Vikings actually, including our logo, have a European presence and feel. So we have people from Scandinavia and from all over Europe coming to our games as well.
Yeah, that's great. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but you consistently receive accolades about your fan experience. Just last year, you were #1 in overall fan game day experience, and various other surveys, you've come out on top. Just talk a little bit more, if you can, in detail about how do you go about that? What kind of structure do you have internally? How are you taking maybe a different approach to others to be topping those lists?
Well, we make sure it's a priority, like I said. So we as ownership, we made sure to set from day one that we're going to provide the resources necessary. And from there, we have an incredible fan base and an incredible staff led by our COO, Andrew Miller, who's here today, and our entire team, really focused in on making sure the game day experience is special. And it's about family, too. We are a family ownership, and we like to also include our fandom, our community, and have a family experience. For us, personally, we grew up loving the game of football, and we want our fans to have the same kind of experience. So I will never forget when we opened our stadium 10 years ago. It's hard to believe it's 10 years, but we have the largest pivoting doors in the world that open up to the community. And I remember fans, diehard fans for 40, 50 years with tears in their eyes, seeing the magnificence of the stadium and the building and the emotion that they had, saying, this is where I can come and bring my family and be entertained and be together. So we make that experience very important. Our fans are all in their seats by the opening of the game. We're the number one on that because people want to see the show. It's a fan experience around our culture, around our team, and around our heritage. And we make the effort, and the production's big, but it's also something where we make sure we're family-oriented all the way around, including our players and staff.
That's interesting. Yeah, I live in the States, and I'm fortunate to work with a few Vikings supporters and fans. And look, everyone here has a passion for sports, so we're used to being around that. But it does run deep. I mean, they are talking about it pre and post game for days. And it's interesting what you just said about that family connection too, because it's the whole family is gathering, kind of at a level that I haven't really experienced before. So, yeah, well done.
That's what's unique to sports. I mean, we're in the real estate business, and no one's asked me about a shopping center in 21 years. So that's the kind of energy and excitement sports brings to people.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about a couple of the other teams you own. You own an MLS team and also an NWSL team, both in Orlando. The NWSL team won a championship recently. Congrats on that. Just talk about how that came about, how you chose what sports to get into, why those teams, why that area, obviously not in Minnesota. Any insight on that would be great.
Well, I think for us, the team environment is a huge part of sports, and that kind of experience you have, not just the players on the team in the locker room and the coaches, but an entire organization, even an entire community and a fan base pulling together like that. And I think American football for us was very personal and passionate. Soccer as well. I grew up, my kids all played soccer growing up. And even though it's not the primary sport in America, it's also got a team environment that's very special as well, and where communities go around. So that's been a good fit. We started pursuing the soccer experience through Minnesota. We were not successful bringing the franchise to Minnesota. We were partners in the Nashville Soccer Club for a couple of years, and then when the Orlando opportunity arose, we decided to become the control owners in Orlando, and it's been fantastic ever since. And like you mentioned, the women's team is Supporter Shield and the championship the same year was a fantastic year last year, and that also brings the community together. And our men's team, both teams are in the deep playoff hunt right now, and I would say it all has the similarity of the excitement of being part of something bigger than yourself. And so as owners, we feel that. As staff, we feel that. And our fandom certainly feels that as well.
Can you talk just a little bit about the opportunity for soccer, or football, as we might say over here in the US? World Cup next year. What do you see from a trend perspective? Are you as bullish as many on the growth potential over there?
A lot of energy. I know we had the FIFA, the Club World Cup this summer, and some of the big games were very big, very widely attended and widely viewed. We're building a lot of marketing and energy around the North American World Cup next year. So the fact is MLS has, I believe, over 100 players in the league that are participating in the World Cup. So the MLS, the American League, was founded on the World Cup that North America had in the 90s, and we're looking for the same kind of catapult and energy in this World Cup coming up, as well as the Women's World Cup coming up in a couple of years.
And sort of similarities and differences between your NFL franchise and soccer franchises, fan-wise, and just other areas?
Well, clearly, the scale of it is very different, but some of the basics all remain the same. The importance on emphasizing fan engagement, food and beverage, all the basics you have to do to really attract fans and make the game competitive apply to both leagues. Obviously, the scale in the NFL is massive. Every game is a event watched by millions every week, and MLS is in a growth phase, as is the Women's Soccer League. And the idea is to keep growing it. And I think I'll give you an example, the Women's Soccer League. I think the previous session talked about it as well. Tremendous growth going on there. We have a 40-50% yearly growth in social, over a 4 or 5-fold growth in new social media accounts, new TikTok accounts. So there's a lot of energy around the women's game. And the men's game, the level of play in the men's game has grown dramatically. Clearly not the Premier League, but certainly now in, I'd say, the second tier of leagues around the world. And so soccer fandom is growing dramatically in the United States.
Pivoting a little bit just more to the business side, a couple of questions in that area. The difference in just overall model, business model and structure between the Premier League and the NFL. I mean, they're often compared rightly and wrongly to obviously very different type of setups,
Right.
but so dominant in their own respective sports, relegation, promotion, salary caps, etc. Can you just give your thoughts on that, pros and cons to each? Anything the NFL you think could learn from what's being done over here and vice versa?
Well, you touched on really the biggest differences. Certainly the relegation model, the NFL, that would be it's terrifying enough on a game day Sunday. I'd hate to think about being tossed out of a league for a bad game. So that's the primary difference. Also the fact that except for 3 hours on the field every week, we truly are a partnership as owners and as clubs. Best practices are shared widely. And some of the efforts, for instance, stadium construction. We have 7, 8 NFL teams now in the process of either significant renovations or new buildings. All that happens, we have a lot of financial programs in the NFL, like our G5 program currently, where we support each other with our ticket sales to promote construction, financing, and to help make these stadiums happen. So we're really partners on the field. I think maybe, I don't know enough about Premier League to judge a scale, but we certainly have a history, over a 100-year history, of working together off the field to grow the game, work with media partners, and now we're growing internationally. And the international piece is also a team effort. Every club has to give up home games, has to participate, and we do it willingly and eagerly, and I think most clubs are also very supportive.
Can you talk just a little bit about how that happens practically? Because again, NFL is competitive as any league. You know, huge investments that owners are making, like you've said a couple of times, winning means everything. So how do you actually come together to work on some of these business initiatives? Is it at the ownership level? Is it working groups within your organization?
There is that push and pull, and I think, you see it where sometimes the NFL has a rich history of being a league and league first. And that's how we view it as ownership. But not every ownership comes in that way. Some people are coming at it in a purely investment mode. We like to look at it as a long-term asset. And I think with that long-term outlook, you can do long-term capital investment. You can think big picture, and your team or your league doesn't vary week to week or year to year based on the performance. So I think it's a proven model. It's worked well. The Premier League, of course, there's teams that are in the boxed area that very rarely get relegated, but you have a lot of movement. Now, it's very exciting for the fans, but I think the NFL model is very business model oriented.
Yeah. Just moving to sort of the other side of the business area for you. So you sit on a 200-acre mixed-use facility and sort of broader campus, Viking Lakes, I believe it's called. What's your vision as an ownership group around that? How does that sort of sit as a slightly standalone business, or is it completely integrated with the team?
Well, we're a big believer that because of the power of the brand, that it can have some impact, and we're real estate people. And when we built the stadium, we promoted that the part of Minneapolis that we built in was kind of not in a great state, and we had over $1 billion of economic development that happened around the stadium, not necessarily ours. Same thing with our practice facility. We bought a 200-acre campus in Eagan, Minnesota. It's 20 minutes outside of Minneapolis, a suburb. And our facility is 40 acres of it, but the rest of it is, we have a world-class Omni Hotel. We also have Twin City Orthopedics, our medical partners, and we have a massive medical building there, a hospital, and we have a stadium where we have community events. We have high school events nearly every week. We have a minor league women's soccer team that plays there. We have Premier Lacrosse, World Fitness Games. So it brings the community together. It leverages the brand, and it's worked out really well so far. And many clubs are in that mode too. And the same thing over here. I think Tottenham and other cities, Tottenham where we're playing in other places, there is some real estate that's always part of the business model and investment.
Yeah, I was going to say you sort of were ahead of the curve because you built this new stadium 10 years ago, but it seems that trend towards these broader multi-purpose facilities, which, yes, we're definitely seeing over here and in Europe, but it's been happening for a while in the US. And now with private equity being able to take on stakes within teams as well, do you see that accelerating, or do you feel most teams have kind of already established that?
Many teams, especially teams that are where the NFL business or the sports business is their only business. We're fortunate that we have other businesses, but that kind of capital from private equity does help fuel the investment in stadiums and real estate investments around the team. So I think it's important. It's a trend that's here to stay.
Shifting a little bit to the women's side of things, girls flag football, the NFL have really got behind that. Obviously exciting to see how football is going to be integrated into the Olympics in 28 as well. Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy around supporting sort of the women's side?
Well, this is something we're very supportive of. The league has grown it as well. In fact, when we were in Dublin at the ambassador's residence, we had multiple Irish clubs that are playing flag football. So it's a way to grow the game internationally, particularly among girls. I think by age 14, the dropout rate for women in sports in America is double for boys. So it's a way to keep young women engaged in athletics and sports. There are over 500,000 young people, 7 to 17, that play flag football in the United States. And we've teamed in Minnesota with 51 high schools, and we've created a league, and so it's growing dramatically. Almost 50,000 high school students playing flag football. And it's a way to promote the game, it's a way to promote a love of the game, but it's also a way to empower women to participate, young girls to participate in sports, where that's been an issue in America for a long time, and worldwide.
Yeah. And too early, or have you seen an impact on your fan base and just how that makeup might be changing?
Oh no, we've had a significant impact on our fan base. We have many people, players. We have some great stories around the game, and so flag football is here to stay, and it's certainly a great way to engage young people and families that are around it.
Shifting again direction, just sort of the value-led side of what you do and the impact in a broader way on the community. Second-generation Holocaust survivors, your family, long been advocates of helping others. We were talking out back. You've obviously traveled to the region a lot recently. Can you talk about, just from an organizational standpoint, how you kind of push making the biggest impact you can from a community standpoint? You've talked about it from sort of the business, mixed-use area, facility, obviously just your core values, but just more broadly, what does that mean to you and how have you gone about it?
Being a platform for good, being engaged in the community is a cornerstone of our ownership. I think it's a cornerstone for all of us in the sports business, and we've really leaned in on that. I think it's something very powerful, and it can really make an impact. In fact, in the Minnesota community, we have a Vikings table. We've served over 100,000 meals in the past 4 or 5 years to kids that need, have food insecurity. So we're very, very engaged in that kind of engagement. We also work with our players on social justice. We have a fund. We invest millions of dollars, and a good portion of those funds, we ask the players for their priorities. And we ask them what organizations, what causes are you involved in, whether it be criminal justice reform or what have you. We work with the players and invest. So, we bring young people. We have a trip with the Project Success Group in Minnesota. It's young high school kids that have never left the city on underprivileged kids, and we bring them to Washington. We spend a day at the African American Museum, and as well as the Holocaust Museum, and we talk about the consequences of intolerance and bias and prejudice. And so our football, our sports platform, allows us to engage in the community in a unique way, and we lean into that.
It's awesome. Very impressive. Well, it looks like we're out of time, but thank you for taking time to be with us today. I know you've got a busy schedule, and congrats on everything you've already achieved. Can't wait to see what more the Vikings do, both on and off the field. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Sophie.
Thanks for listening to this episode of On Stage. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with colleagues or anyone interested in how leadership, ownership, and global growth are reshaping the sports industry. Thank you so much for listening to On Stage this year. We hope you have found these leadership conversations valuable. As always, you can reach me at tbloom@sportsbusinessjournal.com. We'll be back in the new year with more conversations from the stage featuring leaders shaping the future of sports and business. Until next time, stay tuned and stay ahead. This is On Stage.